perform at Renaissance festivals across the country as the Lady Victoria, as some of you may know. And I play the hammer dulcimer, which is this instrument, sounds like this. So a lot of people ask me, like, what it's like performing at Renaissance fairs. So Renaissance fairs are some of the craziest places to perform, because it is an outdoor venue, which means that you're subject to any manner of weather. You are I'm a performer, so I come in as a national act, and I'm left basically to my own devices. I'm given a stage, I'm given stage times, but I have to make sure that the sound, if I need a sound system, if I have a sound system, if there's one on stage, if there's one not there, it all needs to come together and be ready so that I can perform. But anyway, the hammer dulcimer, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because people just want to see it, and a lot of people associate hammer dulcimers with Renaissance festivals because they are so, like, synonymous, right? Like, it's a crazy, wild looking instrument. I mean, look at this thing. It's got strings all over it, you know. Sounds like a harpsichord, kind of. It's over 2,500 years old. It's like a really old instrument, but it was in Persia at that time. This is the Scottish version, though, and so it's, like, the timing on it being at a Renaissance fair, which is, in theory, like, 1560s, maybe. A little rough, but we can make it work. And I play Celtic music, which is mostly written in 1700s, so... Oh, well. But, yeah, that's the fun thing about Renaissance fairs, is that, like, historical accuracy, depending on the festival, is seen differently and taken differently. Some fairs are very, very strict about what you play and how it works. Other fairs are a little bit more loose and could be considered more like fantasy fairs, you know, like, we want to get the vibe, like, the feel of everything. And that's where the music comes in. I think the music really creates the atmosphere. Anyway, performing as a Renaissance fair performer. It's crazy. I have to wake up really, really early, make sure that I get my makeup on, make sure that I have my lunch, make sure that I have everything with me. I get out to the fair site, I set up, I go ahead and do morning music, depending on the festival, what's going on. And then I typically do something called busk, so I perform on the street with my instrument and a little tip basket, and get to meet people and tell them about the instrument, and have a lot of fun with that. And then I'll do my stage shows as well, which is me on a stage solo, presenting the music to an audience. And it's just like what you'd expect in that regard, only it's outside, can totally get rained on at any point in time. I'm currently performing at the Colorado Renaissance Festival, so hail is definitely an occurrence at this fair. Not unheard of to be hailed on. I do have a stunt dulcimer. This is not it, though. This is my very own Lady Victoria line of instruments, so I don't want it to get hailed on. But I do have a stunt dulcimer that that can get rained on. One really shouldn't, but one does. Anyway, there are so many other incredible performers. There's so many cool people out there. I've met somebody doing, like, a flea circus act who has a doctorate in opera, right? Like, you just wouldn't know from looking at them. But the people here are all so multifaceted, and we're true Renaissance performers. I am ready at any point in time to do anything. Being able to roll with the variables is one of the key components to being a good Renaissance fair performer, I think. Like, being able to deal with different variables. Because everything's going to be different every single day that you perform. The weather's going to be different. How you feel is going to be different. How the crowd is interacting is going to be different. And just being ready for everything, you know, and then taking care of yourself, too. Sunscreen, hydrating, bathroom breaks, lunch breaks, snack breaks, lunch breaks, snack breaks. Yeah, so Renaissance fair performing is exhausting and absolutely the most incredible thing ever, but it's very, very hard, too. You know, I travel across the country. I travel about every 2 months. So last year, 2019 anyway, I did Hogtown Fair, Brevard Renaissance Festival, Colorado Festival, Florida Renaissance Festival, Georgia Renaissance Fair. I did a tour in Italy for a month. Then I went to Colorado, and then I went to Pittsburgh, and then I went to Ohio, and then I went to the Texas Renaissance Festival, which is the largest fair. Then I went and did a little tiny fair in Florida, and that's the entire year, right? That was the whole year. And what's different from Ren Fair touring than, like, regular touring is regular touring, you're going and being in a different place every single week. Every week you're in a different location. Every week you're in a different, or even day sometimes, right? Like theater tours do, like, a different theater, a different night. That's terrifying. I get to a place and I get to stay at different areas. Sometimes I'm camping, sometimes I'm in an Airbnb. It really depends. I spend about a month to 2 months in an area per fair, because that's how long the fairs are. The fairs are between 6 and 8 weeks long, typically. Some of the Florida fairs are just 2 to 4 weeks because they're smaller festivals. But that's what it's like. That's a little bit of taste of what it's like to tour as a Renaissance Fair performer.